morning, football fans. It is Craig Bennett, aka Cash Cake, here with DFSArmy. And we got one football game on the slate today, preseason week 1, before it concludes, where we have Carolina Panthers playing the Indianapolis Colts today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to go through some lineups both on Draftkings and Fanduel, kind of talk about some lineup construction, some guys that probably won't play, maybe some injuries, and just some things to consider all around. And if you like these videos, you want me to keep knocking out these preseason videos, do me a favor, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, let me know you want me to keep knocking out these videos. Hopefully it helps you win a little bit of money. And if you want access to the projections that we have at DFSArmy or any of our tools, considering the Prize Picks tool for NFL preseason we built, it's been printing money, head on over there. Use promo code Preseason. You'll get 50% off your first month VIP membership. That's going to run out here in a few days before we go back to the regular price. So use that promo code Preseason to get that 50% off your first month of VIP membership. But then, hey, let's just dive right into this and talk about it. The game starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we got about 4 or 5 hours before this game starts. Let's jump right into it. All right, I have DraftKings up on the up right here. Again, I'll go through DraftKings and FanDuel both. It's pretty similar, except for FanDuel doesn't use defenses, which does change things a little bit that we can look at. Generally, in these showdowns, you're going to play both defenses in cash games. It's just, they're usually the ones that are going to get you guaranteed points. It's where you generally look for things. So that's where generally we're going to see, the majority of, cash games to play both of them. But I'm not saying you have to play them in tournaments, but that's where I would kind of look. The Colts, I guess, would be my favorite defense if I was going to pick between the Colts and Carolina. I would lean them. So like in cash games, I would probably just, come over here for your defense on the Colts side and just put them up in your captain. I think that's the way to go. In tournaments though, I would look for your running backs. I would look for, your quarterbacks, hopefully throw a touchdown and it's a little higher scoring game, but generally in cash games, this is the way to go. So, the Colts up here, again, play both defenses in a cash game. So come back over here and throw the Panthers in here. And then you're left with 4 spots you're basically trying to fill out. Let's start on the Carolina side. We're not going to see any Sam Darnold. So it's going to be PJ Walker and Will Greer. I'm expecting, probably PJ Walker to play the first half and Will Greer getting that second half. We'll have to make sure that's the way that it's going to go closer to kickoff. I want the guy that's going to start the first half because I've said it many times in this preseason. You're not going to want to take the guy in the second half very often because they just tend to go real run heavy at the fourth quarter and they don't get a lot of opportunities. So I'm going to throw PJ Walker in here because I'm going to think that he's the one that's going to start. So they should play a half each. There's only 2 quarterbacks. There's no Sam Darnold. So that's where I'm kind of looking at things. And then again, the other must here for me over on Carolina is Chuba Hubbard. I don't know if you guys play a lot of college football or watch a lot of college football, but he was a stud with Oklahoma State, and he's kind of a tinier guy. Kind of reminds me of a little Darren Sproles type. But there should be no Christian McCaffrey here. He should get a lot of the looks early. I kind of like him for that. If he can get in the end zone for us early. Usually in these showdowns in cash games, I'm looking to play, both defenses, quarterbacks, and running backs. That's really all I'm looking for. So I like to play Chuba Hubbard. Rodney Smith, he kind of got, hurt a couple days ago at practice, so I'm not sure we'll see him playing. Reggie Bonifant, he wasn't practicing a couple days ago, so he's not a guy that I'm looking for. And they really only have 3 more running backs on the player pool down here that we can look at. And in tournaments, you can look at those guys. Maybe like Trenton Cannon, he's been around for a little bit that we can look at. Spencer Brown's kind of another guy that we can look at. But for the most part in cash games, I'm just going to be going Chuba Hubbard. I think they want to see what they can got in him. And he should be a good backup running back to McCaffrey. But yeah, in tournaments, don't be afraid to take some chances on these guys that'll get that fourth quarter run. Like I said, in Trenton Cannon and Spencer Brown. I'm going to keep looking for reports or whatever as I do projections this morning and see exactly where I want. But I think it's Chuba Hubbard, and I think the next one I want to go is probably Cannon, and then probably Brown if I had to rank the running backs for me. But we're going to sit right here on the Carolina side, and that's kind of where I would go. I have no problem if you want to play kicker, if you want to play Joe Sly over here. I just got the one kicker. No problem playing him in cash games if you prefer to go that way. If it's a low scoring affair, and those guys start kicking, they can definitely score some points. So I have no problem playing kickers in cash games either. I just generally have been doing pretty well just playing these running backs, quarterbacks. But yeah, no problem playing Joey Sly in there as well. He should see all the work. And I'm not going to play wide receivers or tight ends when it comes to cash games and tournaments. I have no problem going there. We shouldn't see any Robbie Anderson, no DJ Moore. David Moore, got hurt as well. Terrence Marshall Jr., we should see him play, with the ones here. If you want to pair him up with PJ Walker, Shea Smith, Bayless, look at those guys. We'll have to see if Kirkwood's still going to play. I don't know if he's going to play or not. He should. I know he was in concussion protocol last week or a couple weeks ago. No, I think it was last week. We'll just have to make sure that he's playing. We'll have that in the notes today as we do them over at DFSArmy. But again, when we get down toward these really low guys, I guess you could take a look at some of these guys that are in the mid-range still. Maybe Ishmael Hyman, this guy you can look at, CJ Saunders. But these guys are just more tournament plays for me. Tight ends, not super excited to play him. I guess if you want to take a shot at Ian Thomas, Dan Arnold shouldn't play. He's their number one tight end over here for Carolina. So maybe Ian Thomas, maybe Tommy Tremble, but I'm not super excited about playing tight ends in Showdown. But that's where I would look. Over on the Indy side, all starts at quarterback for us. And man, it's kind of crazy to see Carson Wentz actually out on the field playing a little bit. I mean, throwing the ball a little bit, because he just underwent surgery a couple weeks ago, and they said it'd be 5 to 12 weeks. And they said it looks like he's a little ahead of schedule, but of course he's not going to play today. Jacob Eason should end up playing or starting. He's been getting a lot of the first team reps. So he's the kind of guy that we could look at throwing in here. No problem playing him. He should see, they got 3 quarterbacks. They got Eason, Sam Ehlinger, and then Brett Hundley. Eason's not very mobile at all. He's not a runner like Ehlinger is. Ehlinger is a Longhorn. He has no problem running the ball. I am assuming Eason probably gets, the whole first quarter, maybe a few series in the second quarter, and then Ehlinger comes in, finishes out the half, maybe plays the third quarter, and then we'll see Brett Hundley come in and get that fourth quarter. So I don't really have a whole lot of love for Hundley at all. So for me, it would be Eason, Ehlinger. I kind of like Ehlinger, though, just because of his running, prowess. That'd be kind of guy that I would look at. But I don't think he's a must. But for playing cash games, I would lean either one of Ehlinger or Eason. That's just kind of where I would lean there. Again, I kind of want running backs as well, so I would pick one of these quarterbacks. If you want to go back and play Greer and hope that he does pretty well in that third quarter for Carolina, you can. But I still think I'd play one of these quarterbacks for Indy. And again, I have no problem playing Eason, but I think I'm going to lean Ehlinger just because of his running upside, just because of the way he plays. I'm going to lean him a little bit. But again, they do have 3 quarterbacks, and that, they're not going to get as much time as the Carolina quarterback. So if you wanted to just double stack the Carolina quarterbacks with Chuba Hubbard, I have no problem with that because they're going to get a quarter each. But this is kind of what I'm looking at right now. Then on the running back situation, we shouldn't see any Jonathan Taylor. So it's going to be Hines, going to be Mack, those guys. But I don't know how much time they're going to see because we saw, them rotate running backs a lot last year. So I'm not sure we're going to see a ton of run out of Mack or Hines. And I think you can play those guys. But I think, guys a little bit further down the depth chart that, we might see. Even Jordan Wilkins, he's the kind of guy that came in there and played. So they run, basically, even though Jonathan Taylor's number one on the depth chart and starts, they run a lot of running backs out there. So I don't think they're going to play a lot of these guys. I would look at guys more like Benny LeMay. He's down after all these guys that get a lot of playing time as it is. So we could see a lot more run out of Benny LeMay or Darius Anderson. These are the kind of guys I would look for. They're the guys that are going to get that third quarter run. Don't tilt if you don't see them play in the first half. They're the guys that are going to get that second half run, against the weaker defenses and then trying to make the team and everything else. So I would look at Benny LeMay and I look at Darius Anderson. If you want to go down to Deion Jackson, he's at the very bottom of their depth chart. But those are the guys I would lean. I'm going to throw Benny LeMay in here. And again, quarterback situation, this is kind of fluent for me, like this slot. Like I don't know if you want to go kicker as well. Like I said, you could throw a kicker in here. No problem going that route. But they got Blankenship and then Eddie Pinerio here. So if I'm throwing a kicker, I'm going to do the kicker from the Carolina side because they only have one. I don't like playing kickers from teams that have both of them. So I would again lean, playing if you're going to play kicker on the Carolina side. So I'm kind of more loading up on the Carolina side than Indy, I think. Again, this last spot for me in cash games is definitely going to be another quarterback, though. It's just, Easton Ellinger or on the other side, Will Grier. I'm leaning a little bit Ellinger, but again, I'm going to look at notes a little. I'm going to look at things, see if there's any more information out there this morning before we get up the notes for our VIP members at DFSArmy, as well as finish out the projections and see if there's any changes from yesterday, because it was a massive slate yesterday. So definitely check those out and see if things change. But, as I'm recording this at, around 7 o'clock this morning on the Eastern Standard Time, that's kind of where I sit. Let's head on over to the Fanduel side. Again, Fanduel is very similar. The only thing is there's no defenses, right? So everything stays the same in the sense that there's no defenses. So, generally I'm playing a quarterback or running back in all this for cash games. Tournaments, everything else is in play. The one thing I didn't talk about, I guess, is wide receiver and tight end for the Colts. And again, we should see no T.Y. Hilton. We'll see no Pittman. I don't think we'll see a ton of Paris Campbell or Zach Pascal either. So it's probably going to be, DeMichael Harris. We'll see him. Mike Strachan, J.J. Nelson. He's placed on IR, so we're not going to see him at all. We didn't see no practice out of Doolin. So that would be the one guy that we could look at on the Colts side if we're going to look for a wide receiver for tournaments. I wouldn't really play these guys in cash games, but if you want to look for a tournament, he'd probably be my favorite wide receiver. And over on DraftKings, running wide receiver up a captain, hope he gets a bomb like we saw Trey Lance just unleash that thing to Schofield Sheffield yesterday. Oh my God, that was just a massive bomb 80-yarder. If you get something like that, you're sitting pretty up top. And so that's one way to go in tournaments, but in cash games, you just can't go here. So, Tariq Black, Tyler Vaughns, that's kind of where you're going to, look at things in the wide receiver situation. I'm not going to play them. I'm going to play a lot of cash games and not so much tournaments, but that's where you're looking at. And I'll list them all out on the cheat sheet over at DFSArmy. So we'll have everything listed out. I'm just kind of going through this and I don't think we'll see a lot of Mo Alley Cox at tight end. I don't think we'll see a lot of him or Jack Doyle. These guys, they play a lot of two wide receiver sets or two tight end sets. So I think you're going to look at guys, maybe at Jordan Thomas or Granson around that. But again, just tournaments for me. I'm not going to touch a wide receiver or tight end in cash game. So again, up at MVP, depends on what you want to do here. We have no running backs to figure out what we're going to do. I'm sorry, no defenses. So this is where it's a little bit different. Decided what you're gonna do. I still kind of like running Chuba Hubbard up here at MVP, but I think you can definitely go quarterback as well. If you want to go up here and run a PJ Walker, would probably be one of my favorite guys to throw up here. I kind of like to go running back heavy up here, but again, throw PJ Walker into this. 3 guys left. I talked about Benny LeMay on the Colts side. I think he's going to get a lot of second half runs, so he's the kind of guy that I want him there. I talked about Cannon on the Carolina side. I think he's going to get a lot of run in the second half as well, so I don't mind throwing him out there. And then it's basically what I would look around is, if you another quarterback, like you could stack the quarterbacks on Carolina if you wanted to, and have almost like a Carolina onslaught stack if you think Indianapolis is going to spread their guys out a little more. They said they got 3 quarterbacks, so or if you think Sam Ehlinger is going to run one in his playing time. But I'm just looking for volume and play time here, and so you might want to stack both Carolina quarterbacks and not the Indy quarterbacks because there's 3 of them, and just run one of the running backs here on the Indy side, which again LeMay would be my favorite. So again, this last spot here, I think most generally I'm probably going to throw a quarterback in here, but I'll look in things a little bit more. If we want to run maybe a Spencer Brown in there, or somebody that type. But that's kind of where I would lean things right now, is pretty running back heavy for this slate. Sometimes I'll run 4 quarterbacks and 1 running back, but I'm tending to be more running back heavy on this slate, especially with 3 quarterbacks on the Indy side. I like playing these situations where we have just 2. So again, that's where I'm kind of looking at. If you want to throw, and again, I don't mind running the same lineup. And if you want to run Joyce Sly out here and throw him in this as a cash option as well, that's perfectly fine as well. So that's kind of where I'm looking in that situation. So I hope that quick rundown helped. Again, if you like these videos, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. Lets me know that you want me to keep doing this content. Again, just 1 game on tap. Don't have to wait till Thursday, man. And again, if you not a member of DFSArmy, head on over there. Use that promo code Preseason. So we're only going to have it, I think, until the 18th. So 3 more days to grab that 50% off that first month VIP membership. So again, Preseason, head that over there. Hope you can win some money. Hope to see you in our Discord. All those links are below. So join up, see you in the Discord. Hopefully win some money. Deuces.